This is Andi for Boxing Social in association with Pursue Fitness, and I'm delighted to be joined by promoter Eddie Hearn. Eddie, it's been a while. How are you doing?
Doing very well. A bit tired, and if it wasn't Loma-Campbell press conference, it would have been tough to get out of bed this morning. But we're here, we're buzzing. We've been on the go since about 7 o'clock this morning, doing various different media. Huge pre-sale at the O2 yesterday and Saturday, and general sale in about an hour. I think it's going to sell out today, to be honest with you. Massive event and a big moment for British boxing.
It's been a while since the fight seemed to be done behind the scenes until it was announced. What was the reason behind that?
Mainly because we had the other event at the O2. So I don't really think it's great business to be announcing another fight when you've got a fight coming and you're selling tickets for another fight at the same venue 6 weeks later. So we actually completed the fight. To be honest, actually, it was only signed on Thursday or Friday. So it was actually just signed, but the deal was done maybe a week, 10 days ago. So we just felt that we should wait till getting them both in the ring head-to-head to announce.
Luke Campbell going in with considerably one of the best, he's one of the best fighters on the planet, one of the top 3 pound for pound many consider. Do you give him a better chance than what Anthony Crolla had?
Yeah, I do, for a number of reasons. One, because it's in the UK. 2, because I think stylistically Luke has a better style to deal with Lomachenko. I mean, Campbell and Crolla are both two great fighters. Crolla's won world titles, defended it, tried to unify it. He's a quality fighter. Is he as good as he was when he, maybe the first time he fought Linares or when he beat Barroso? Maybe not. But was the style maybe perfect for Lomachenko? So I don't think you can read too much into that fight other than Lomachenko is a genius and an excellent fighter. Luke, I think, has a different kind of style. He's followed Lomachenko, not intentionally, but around the world as an amateur. I think they met in 2003 at the European Championships, and they've been in tournaments together ever since, always in different weight classes, but obviously both won gold in London at the 2012 Olympics. And they've done their separate thing. Lomachenko ended up winning world championships at featherweight, super featherweight, lightweight. Luke Campbell had a very close fight with Linares, which I thought he nicked, but without the knockdown he certainly would have won that fight. Little bit stop and start at times, teamed up with Shane McGuigan. I think now he's in the form of his life. He's punching harder than he's ever punched before. I'm not an idiot. I know that how tough this challenge is, but if I didn't think he had any chance to win this fight, I wouldn't have made the fight in England. I would have made it in the UK. Probably more money for everybody to be made. But I think I've seen the criticism, if you like, and the response of the British fans, which is, we want to see the big names fight here. So I feel like this was an opportunity to make that happen. Luke wanted to fight in the UK, and Luke and Shane McGuigan, it's just not like, the reason they wanted to fight in the UK is because they think they can win the fight. Again, he could have taken more money to go to the States as well, but he said, no, I think it's a benefit to have it in the UK, and Lomachenko's travelled all over the world, so I don't think he'll necessarily be phased, but I just think it's an opportunity for Luke Campbell just to tear up the script completely, and he's a quality fighter, great technical fighter with a high IQ. He's punching hard, he's got great size on Lomachenko as well, but he is in with, as you said, pound for pound top 3. I think in 90% of people's books, pound for pound top 1 in the world right now.
Some people have talked about Vasyl Lomachenko's injuries. They've started to creep up recently. Hurt his hand in the Crolla fight as well. Do you think this is kind of a perfect time as well for Luke?
I mean, look, you grab at straws, don't you, when you're looking at Lomachenko? How do you beat Lomachenko? Okay, you knock him out. This can happen in boxing. But you also look at the amount of fights he's had as an amateur, the injuries that are starting to occur. And if you want to, it's definitely an advantage for a fighter looking at that. Whether anything he's going to break down in the Luke Campbell fight, I think it's unlikely. But he's dealing with injuries as he goes in his career, as many fighters do, some you don't hear about. But again, I think that's probably more of a bit of straw grabbing to say, well, could the injuries play a part in this fight? Very unlikely, but if they do, it ain't a problem. Congratulations, we'll take it.
What does Luke Campbell have to do then, and what does he have to work on in preparations for Vasyl Lomachenko?
Well, I think what he has to do is although he's never fought Lomachenko, I think it's a little bit further away from the unknown for Luke. Like I said, he knows him, he followed him, he knows how he boxes and moves around the ring. I think him and Shane will come up with a great game plan. If you're asking me, as a fan, what has he got to do? He's got to use his feet very, very well in this fight. He's got to use his size and his reach in this fight as well. He's got to use that jab, that stick to and what Crolla said in the fight was that it's almost like he moves out of range, and then all of a sudden you just get hit with a shot, and it's like, where'd that come from? So you've just got to be razor sharp, because you're going to make a mistake, and he's going to be where you are, and the next thing he's going to be there, hitting you with 4 or 5 shots from different angles you don't see coming. So Luke's got to be very sharp with his feet. He's got to be long. He's got to use his jab, and he's got to hit him hard and nail him. Luke Campbell is punching very, very hard at the moment, and people don't realise that. I think Shane has been a great addition in that respect, and they are going for the knockout in this fight. You can't not go for anything else. What are you going to do? Outbox Loma-Campbell over 12 rounds? Unlikely. You've got to hit him hard, hit him early. Easier said than done.
Now, obviously, when the fight was announced, I don't know whether to say you wasn't best pleased, but you wasn't necessarily happy about the fact that it was Vasyl Lomachenko. You wanted to be other fighters who were higher ranked with the WBC. What was Luke's thoughts back then? Was he happy to take Lomachenko, and would he have rather fought somebody else?
He just wanted a shot at the title. I think everyone felt that it should go down the rankings. We know the game, Andy. At the end of the day, WBC want the biggest name in boxing to hold their belts. Not, by the way, not just the WBC, every governing body. And Lomachenko is the biggest name in the division. So it wasn't a shock to me. I just wanted it to be Devin Haney, you know. So, but now it's all played out, and Luke Campbell's got a chance to become unified world champion at the O2 in London on August 31st. So we got it done. Devin Haney fights Abdullayev to face the winner of this fight. So you know, we'll see. But I don't necessarily blame the WBC. I don't really think it was a shock decision. I would have just preferred them to go down the rankings. But Luke was fine with it. You know, I think he was excited by it. It's really a no-lose situation for Luke Campbell. He believes he can win the fight, and if he does it, if you're going to gamble, you know, gamble like this. If he wins, he's pound for pound number one, Luke Campbell, right? So I give him a lot more chance than some do in this fight.
How's he going to work with the American broadcasters as well? Nothing seems to be announced.
ESPN Plus, yeah, that was announced already. Part of the deal with Top Rank was that he'd come to the UK. It's got to be on ESPN. Obviously, I was on Sky Sports box office here, so yeah.
I know it's early doors yet, but what are your thoughts with regards to an undercard for it?
Lots, really. I mean, we got Charlie Edwards has a great fight coming up against a mandatory Cesar Martinez guy who knocked out Andrew Selby recently. Got Boatsi's due a run out. Another big heavyweight fight we're planning for the card as well. Joe Cordina could be defending his British title. So there's 6-7 fights in the mix right now, and we'll be sort of trickle feeding them in. First one will be either tonight or tomorrow, and then just announcing the card this week. It's 6 weeks, so most of the fights are already made, to be honest with you. We were just waiting on the final signing of the contract before we committed to those.
Now, speaking of heavyweights, you've had one day to reflect on Whyte-Rivas. What are your thoughts on the fight now you've had that extra day?
Yeah, it was a great fight. I mean, I watched it back last night, actually. I thought Rivas was great. I thought Dillian Whyte was great as well. He's improving so much. You know, his body punching is so good. His jab was phenomenal. I think he landed like 50 jabs a round or something like that. So it's just a great heavyweight fight. Great night, really, from start to finish. Loads of drama, loads of talking points. And, you know, now Dillian is mandatory. We know when will that be? May, June. He's mandatory. So that's the key. He hasn't been mandatory before. He is now. And, you know, we'll make sure that he gets his shot. Whether it's in May or June, he will get that shot.
I know Dillian's mandatory and he's obviously going to fight the winner of Fury Wilder, but before that Deontay Wilder faces Luis Ortiz. If Deontay Wilder was to lose that fight to Luis Ortiz, does Tyson Fury face the winner of, say, Luis Ortiz versus Fury? Or?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's no provision in the contract, I understand, for Fury to fight the winner of that fight. Fury's down to fight Wilder, so you know, if Ortiz was to upset the odds, he may go straight into the Dillian Whyte fight himself. So I think for Dillian, it's about looking after himself and his own career. He will fight later this year, November, December. Who will that be against? We'll see what pops up. A lot of people saying take a sort of easier fight now, but he made a good point post-fight. Easy fights are dangerous because you can't really get yourself up for him. So he'd rather be in a fight that he can get himself up for. So we'll see how that plays out.
Derek Chisora as well with a second round stoppage victory.
Yeah, it was an electric performance from. I mean, sometimes you see Derek grind it out, be tough, and you know what you saw on Saturday was something unique from Derek, which was like a man possessed. He knew he didn't like southpaws, and he was like, do you know what? I'm going to get at him early, and I'm going to try and beat him up and knock him out. And the knockout was brutal. I mean, I saw it head on. And I think the ref was a bit unlucky because he was blindsided. I think Spilker was out from the first left hook, and the three other shots came when he was just, you know, and it was brutal. So Chisora's massively in the mix now. You know, I think the Josie Parker fight is a great fight. but he is right in the mix. And when you produce performances like that and get the crowd on their feet and buzzing like you did, he's still got a big future.
Dave Allen versus David Price. David Price winning 10th round TKO. What was your thoughts with regards to Dave Allen since rumours going around that he just discharged himself, and he's put a video out yesterday that he's still been having headaches and everything. What do you see the future holding for Dave Allen?
I think if that's the case, he's got to sort it out or he's got to retire. I mean, certainly we knew nothing about that. I mean, he's never ever mentioned it. Only that he's in the shape of his life, feeling better than ever, healthier than ever. And now all of a sudden, his health's been deteriorating over the last few months, and that's very worrying. So we've got to look into that with him, and my advice is to retire from the sport. If that's the case, and you can't be going through life like that and unhappy. But he does love to fight, so you've got to look at what went wrong. Let's not look at just that. Let's look at the performance. The performance wasn't good enough. He's done all this work with Darren Barker, where he's looked phenomenal, and didn't put it together on the night. Let's also give big credit to David Price. He didn't let him put it together. He kept him on the end of that stiff, hard jab and hurt him repeatedly to the head and body throughout the whole fight. So Price was excellent, but Dave Allen, I don't think it was the performance that he was after. I don't think it was the performance that Darren was after. So you've got to find the reasons why that happened. But you first got to address these newly discovered health issues that he's started talking about. And this is a dangerous sport. If you're having headaches in a build-up to a fight, you shouldn't have even taken that fight.
I don't know if he's in build-up, but he's after the fight.
Well, you can have headaches after a fight. I had headaches after that fight. I wasn't even getting punched. So no, they've got to be addressed. The main concern is the well-being of Dave Allen. It's not about just slinging him in fights. He's made a lot of money, in the last 6 months. Much more money than he would ever dreamed of with boxing. But health is wealth, and that's the key: is to stay healthy in your life. So, fuck boxing if it ain't for you and it's making you unhealthy and you're not physically up to it, because it's a tough sport, especially in that division. So people around him and us as well, and we've got to make sure that he's okay mentally and emotionally after a fight, because it's always tough to swallow. Got to make sure that he's medically okay, and then he can start thinking about whether he's going to fight again. But, I think what he said, his posts were quite interesting. There was another one saying where he sort of alluded to the fact that he's not as tough as he used to be, like this, become a bit of a soppy old man, and that can happen with money, and that can happen when desire slips away. So the moment that happens in any job, but particularly in boxing, you need to walk away, because it's dangerous. If you ain't got the desire to win and to stand there and go through the trenches, you need to leave the sport. So he's got a lot of thinking to do, but the most important thing is that Dave Allen is happy and healthy.
Where does David Price go from here? For years, people have always said he's on last chance saloon.
Well, he has been. Every time he fights, he's on last chance saloon. But he has had 3 wins on the spin. Cash Ali, Dave Allen, Tom Little as well. So he'll be looking for that big fight again. Dave's made it very clear. The reason he's in the sport is to earn as much money as possible now. But I do think after Saturday, you saw his reaction in the ring. He was going mad. It was nice to see. Shows you what it meant to him. He's had a lot of stick, hasn't he, over the years, David Price. He's got in there against top heavyweights. He's got ironed out a couple of times, but he's always come back. He's always tried. And I thought Saturday was one of the best performances of his career.
Ret Paul successfully defeating Chris Billam-Smith with a split decision victory. He seems keen on the Lawrence Okolie fight. Is that a fight?
Good fight. Lawrence will fight for the European title coming up soon. That's a very, very tough fight. The Ret Paul fight is a great fight. Ret Paul's coming good. That was a very close fight against Billam-Smith. I think without the knockdown, I don't know which way that would have gone. For me,
how did you see that? Some people saying it wasn't.
I haven't watched it back. When I was live, I thought it was a clear knockdown, but Billam-Smith says it wasn't, and people that were watching said that it didn't look like a knockdown. For me, it looked like the ropes were holding him up. Therefore, he got an 8 count. But it was a big turning point in the fight. Great fight. Ret Paul is very raw, but punches very hard. And Billam-Smith, I thought, was excellent. He's got a big future himself. I said in a post yesterday, just because you lose in a fight like that, Billam-Smith was virtually unknown in terms of his profile. Now, people would like to see him fight again, and that division domestically, there's some good fights for Chris Billam-Smith.
During the night as well, on Saturday, we saw Manny Pacquiao versus Keith Thurman. Manny Pacquiao, another, just continues to shock everyone by his performances. What was your thoughts on that fight, if you caught it?
Told everybody, if you watch any of my interviews, Manny Pacquiao by points. Amazing, isn't it? What is he, 40? Seems to be getting stronger, faster, better. Couldn't make it up, really, could you? So he's been a great fighter. I didn't feel like Thurman is the same fighter. If you watch him on the bag, if you watch him against Josecito Lopez, I don't think he's as good as he was. But yeah, good performance from Manny Pacquiao.
Some people making suggestions that Manny may have been on some form of performance-enhancing drugs. I'm not saying that's the case, but that's what everybody's floating around on social media. Did you see anything
when
like
you
that?
don't have VADA testing? I mean, it's very difficult because everybody always accuses Manny Pacquiao of that. Is he a freak of nature, or is there any substance to that? The way that you eradicate that opinion is to have VADA testing, and there was no VADA testing for this fight, which is criminal. And I'm sick and tired actually of no VADA testing. If a fighter turns down VADA testing, that ain't a good sign. Why would you not have VADA testing? And there's always the chance of, I don't know, contamination, or someone puts something in, and that is a pain for a fighter because you're always on edge about what you're drinking and what restaurants you're going to. But this is too dangerous a sport not to have VADA testing. So why, when there is that conspiracy, is Manny Pacquiao taking performance-enhancing drugs, why don't you just do VADA testing? Is he taking those? I have no idea. I mean, he is doing supernatural stuff, but maybe he's just a genius. I hope that he is a genius, and I hope that he's never and I believe he's a good person. So, and he's never been caught for anything. But when there's no testing, I mean, even when there's testing, there's a way to cheat. But when there's VADA testing extensively from 12 weeks or 14 weeks, every week or twice a week, or it's very difficult to get away with it. So if there's any doubt, why don't you just come out and say, I've seen this ridiculous accusations, no problem, VADA testing, let's go.
Now, before that fight, Amir Khan announced that he was going to fight Manny Pacquiao in November. Since then, Manny Pacquiao's team have come out and denied it. What's your interaction with Amir like now? Do you see any possible working relationship with yourself?
Yeah, I definitely do. I mean, I think the guys out in Saudi, SBL League, will be trying to make the Manny Pacquiao fight. I don't think that fight will happen. I think Manny Pacquiao will fight the winner of Spence against Porter, which will be a big fight for all the belts bar Crawford's. I think they'll keep it in the PBC. And yeah, I think, like I said, the Kell Brook fight is still there. We'll still continue to try and make that fight. Or Amir could still have another easy one out in Saudi. So we'll see what happens.
What is the latest with Kell Brook?
Back in training. He's heavy at the moment. I saw a picture of him the other day. Waiting for that news of a big fight. I think he may not say this, but I think he will only fight again if he gets the big fight. And that's Crawford, that's Khan, that's anything at 154 that's going to get him motivated.
I did see that photo as well, and news from Kid Gallagher put the Engel way as the hashtag. Has Kell linked back up with Dominik Engel?
I don't think officially. I think he's just ticking over his training down there. He likes the guys down there. He's got a great relationship with Dom. And I think he's really waiting for the news and deciding what he's going to do with his career.
I'm just waiting news as well for Callum Smith. Have you got an update as the next opponent?
No, it'll be this week. We're working out the date at the moment that he's going to fight, and should be an announcement soon.
Some rumours had floated around with that he wasn't necessarily happy with his own management. Again, do you know anything about that with regards to he had the Billy Joe Saunders fight offered to him, and then that wasn't made? You got any type of knowledge of that?
No, I mean, he's got a good relationship with his management team. Us promotionally deal with, it's a very tight team. It's not like he's got an agency or anything. It's Callum, Joe Gallagher, lawyer, and we sat down last week, had a good conversation about the future. He wants big fights, and I think that the Billy Joe Saunders offers, we've had the interviews on that, just wasn't enough money, weren't anywhere near enough money. So it couldn't really be taken seriously. But, the plan is to try and box twice this year. And then if there's no mega fight this year, just gamble and gamble and gamble from 2020 on.
And finally, any update on Joshua Ruiz?
Not from yesterday, no, just the same. There will be a decision this week. You won't hear about it probably straight away. Ruiz's team will be informed where the venue is, and then there'll be an announcement shortly after.
Well, Eddie Hearn, I appreciate your time as always. Thanks for being to Boxing Social.
No worries.